not coming here to like preach or pitch something to you. I'm here to explore. And I have nothing to sell. I don't have a company. I didn't start a community. I'm not, building something. I'm on a different sort of path. And this path, the title that I put on this, session is called Death and Disillusionment. And I think that today is actually a perfect example, because I had this whole plan today that I'm here in Costa Rica, and I'm staying in this community that I'm supporting to upgrade some of their, what I call thoughtware, some of their, like, the ways that they approach relating. And I was like coming down to town. I was going to pick up a rental car and get it all done and be back at the place, ready to go with all of you. And it all was a disaster. Like, the whole thing, the first place that I went didn't have cars. The second place wanted to overcharge me. And then I was going to come to this cafe to sit down, and it's closed. And I had to like do this whole, dance to make it happen here. And it's kind of a disaster, right? And so this whole process today was a disillusionment process for me, because I had this whole illusion that I was going to get it done in this certain way, and the outcome of it was completely different than the outcome that I wanted. So for this talk, I want to invite you into a different game, a different sort of game where where each of us takes responsibility for our the sort of experience that we're having, that each of you takes responsibility for the experience that you're having in relation to what I'm going to share, and the things that other people might share, and the way that this goes. And taking responsibility doesn't mean you know how to do it. It doesn't mean that you're doing it right. It means that you're accepting the challenge of looking inside at what is going on within you as this all happens, as this all unfolds. Okay, do we have a yes? Cool. I'll try that. Like, everybody down to try it? Okay, cool. So there's another part of this game, another set of guidelines, and it's this map that we use in this world that I like to play in. It's called possibility management, and I'm not going to go into that, but in this world there's a map called that helps us to navigate our internal experience, and it's called the map of 4 feelings. So in the 70s, this woman was admitted into a psychiatric hospital, and nobody could figure out what to do with her. Like, she was unmanageable by medications, by psychology, by whatever therapies. And one therapist had the genius idea to ask her to map out her feelings, like try to figure this out within herself. And this was actually her doorway out of this, or her doorway through this, psychotic episode. And she boiled it down to 4 feelings. Does anybody have any guesses about what these 4 feelings might be? Like, the 4 like primary feelings of a human. You can unmute yourself and put your voice into the space.
I'd guess fear as one of them.
Yes, fear is one of them. Yes. Anyone else?
Joy.
Yes. Anger. Yes, that's 3. Last one more.
Sadness.
Yes, sadness. Cool. So it sounds like maybe some of you have played with this before. But yeah, so these are, again, this is a map, and what a map does is it helps to navigate. It's not reality, it's not the truth, but it helps to distinguish what's going on. And these 4 feelings are territories. So like, anger is a territory of frustration, rage. There's all these different words that we use to describe this thing. And there's also each of these feelings is an energy source that provides us with the tools to execute certain parts of our life. So for anger, you know, how about this? You tell me instead of me just fucking telling you the answer. Like with this energy of anger, what do you do?
You protect what's important to you, your boundaries.
Yes, boundaries. Yes, knows. So things like speaking up, you know, this is, you use your anger to bring your voice into this space, for instance.
You can look at it to discover what matters to you.
Yes, absolutely. Like purpose, passion, what matters. Yes. So it's about taking a stand, right? It's about speaking up. It's about also saying yes, like yes to this, yes to this direction. You know, it's about creating. It's about, you know, we say it's about doing. It's like starting, stopping, or changing. This is like the energy of anger. And then there's the territory of fear. And other words for fear are anxiety, or, you know, there's all these different words that we use, and fear is an energy for something. So if you have a conscious connection to fear, what can you use it for?
Stop.
What do you, to stop? You said to stop?
Yeah, slow down.
Yes, to slow down. Yes.
Anybody else?
So it's interesting, the distinction between the anger stop and the fear slow down, right? Like, oh, let me take a minute to really read the situation. Anybody else? Fear. I know it's kind of, it's a hard one. I went to the harder one second. So in my life, yeah, go ahead, Charlotte.
To go to the edge of like edge. what I is comfortable.
Yeah. So it's about expanding territory. You know, wherever there's fear, there's something new, there's something different, unexpected.
Alertness.
Yes, absolutely. Alertness. So when I am in a space of intimacy with a partner or with anyone, this fear of like, this could fall apart easily if I'm not here, if I'm not present. This is energy of fear. Luca, I saw you unmute yourself. No? Okay.
In my opinion, like fear, it's also like sometimes it can be used as a way to understand when some boundaries have been crossed also. So like at first fear, then anger to defend the boundary, and then back to grounding, because it's like a process of it activates together. And sometimes like it also hide sadness, because when boundaries are crushed, then it's also painful. So, you know, for me, it's difficult to separate the three, to understand when something is happening, when it's fear, when it's anger, when it's sadness.
Wow, you're hitting the nail on the head with what I want to, you know, go into. And what you're talking about is, you know, it's funny. It's like it's kind of becoming an alchemist of these feelings, because, you know, to really get the understanding of, hey, if I have fear first and then I have anger, and it's like, you can create these recipes with these energies of like how to take care of yourself, how to move, how to shift, how to change, how to step back, go forward. And the second thing that you talked about I don't know how to distinguish them sometimes, is such a crucial part of this conversation, because we were not trained. We did not receive training on how to do this. You learned how to use your mind for 8 hours a day for 15 years, 20 years. You know, we had this mental body training, but we never had this emotional body training. I mean, it's not true. We did have an emotional body training. It was a unconscious, unspoken training, which said things like, what were you told about your feelings when you were young? About your anger, about your sadness, about your fear.
Go to your room, or toughen up, or
yes.
Right.
Yes.
Stop
Usually we
making
were
a drama.
told not to express the feelings, right? We were told to hold them back.
Yeah, don't make a drama, right? Yeah.
Being
They're
called a
too
sissy.
much.
Yeah, you're sissy, you're too much, right? All of this was the training that we received. It was an unconscious, unplanned, yeah, man up, yeah, dismissed, exactly, all of this. And so, okay, so, you know, great, we talked about fear. I'm just gonna go in really into the sadness is also grief and connection, and it's about the energy of being able to like find a connection point and also to let go. So it's like sort of has this polarity to it. And then joy is the energy, joy and bliss and ecstasy. It's like this energy of celebration, acknowledgement, also of like going first and being a leader. So okay, what I want to talk about in this about death and disillusionment, I was reading this book, and it was like gave me the perfect example. And how many of you are from the US? Okay, so I have this question about disgust and emotion. Okay, I'm gonna go into that first, just because it seems like this is a very exciting topic. So there's a distinction, and what these maps that we use, and I gave you the map of 4 feelings. It distinguishes the different territories of feelings, and it creates a very simple way to do this. There's another map called the map of feelings versus emotions. A feeling and an emotion are not the same thing. However, to an untrained person like all of us who have not really, you know, spent years cultivating this, they feel the same. If you've not received training, they will feel the same. So a feeling is a right now energy that sparks you to do something. So I feel this, they're very subtle things. I feel angry because I'm thirsty, so I grab my water and I take a sip. This could be very subtle. It also can be more bigger things, like I feel angry because I'm not I'm feeling unsafe, and so I make a boundary or something like this. An emotion is from the past. It's a feeling that got stuck when you were young and you were angry and you were told to go to your room, you know, and there was a communication that you wanted to deliver and you could not get it through because there was nobody on the other end to receive it. And so it got stuck. And getting stuck means that there was like a story that you created in order to survive. So if you're feeling angry and you cannot express it and you're sent to your room, then you're going to create some story to make your reality make sense and to be able to survive in the reality, in the world, right? Because otherwise you're going to go crazy. Like there's going to be such a dissonance. There's no way. So you create these survival strategies, and these things become this inner structure, like all these beliefs, all these decisions, all these stories that helped you survive become this inner architecture, right? There's this like energetic construct inside of you that's created out of all of these little decisions. You know, the decisions you made when you couldn't feel something, also when you watched TV and you saw an advertisement, or you were in school and your teacher gave you information, or, you know, this inner architecture, this inner structure that you built is the foundation of how you see the world, how the lens with which you perceive, and also with which you let others see you. Okay, so the story that I have is that when the Puritans left Europe in search of something new, we have this story, we were given this story that they were explorers. and they were journeyers, and they were going out to seek a new world. But that is not true. That's not really true, right? What really were these people? Does anybody have an idea of like what was really going on in Europe that these Puritans went to go?
They were looking for resources, labor, and basically everything to put into the capitalist system.
Yes, and they were also refugees. They were running for their life. They were running away from torture and mutilation and slavery, enslavement. You know, they were running away from a British Empire mostly and a Spanish Empire that were murdering people in the streets if they did not fall in line with the way things were supposed to be, right? That's what it was about. So these people run away from their home and they go find something new, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna go create something new, something different, right? Okay, who here feels this way, that you are sort of escaping a system that is oppressive and bullshit and is causing the destruction of life on planet Earth? Raise your hand. Great. Okay, so am I. And what did the Puritans create? They created America, the USA, which is founded on torture, enslavement, like mutilation. Okay, so they went to go create something else, but they created the same fucking thing. They created the same exact thing. Why?
Because of their conditioning.
Yes, exactly.
Right. They were living from their past, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're living from their past, because you do not get to choose to just say, I've had enough. You don't get to just say, I'm not going to be this way anymore. Because I'm sure all of you have this experience of saying, I'm done with this, and then the next day or in a week or in a month, the same shit happens again, and you go like, oh my God, I can't believe I did this again. Because there's this inner structure that's playing out regardless of how badly you don't want it to be there, or how badly you want to make something new. So yeah, we go off and we all have these huge dreams, and I think it's beautiful. Like, we all want to create these new communities, and how it, it's I don't even know how to put this in words exactly, but it's like, we have the opportunity to just be with what is. And what is that we have this inner structure. And so the initiates, when I talk about death and disillusionment as an initiatory path to regenerative living, what I'm saying is, what if we chose to live as if we had an inner structure that was destructive? What would be the path? What steps would we take if we could really put an X on the map of where we actually are, instead of an X on the map of where we think we are and where we want to be? It's like you go to Google Maps and you want to get to a destination, and you put the destination, and then you put that your starting point is the destination. It's like, okay, good luck. Good luck getting to where you're going. Because okay, so with all that being said, we have like 5 minutes. So yeah.
To rephrase what you said, did I catch correctly that you're saying that we need to do the inner work, because if we don't do that, we can run from what we see as the old system, but because the grief and the old experience is still inside us, we will not be able to build the utopian vision that we have if we do not do the inner work and resolve that trauma.
what I'm saying, it's kind of that, but what I'm saying is that we can create a new game. Like this is all improv, right? All of this world is, it's all improv, and improv is also like, there's the improv that you do, and there's also the improv of the rules that you create to do the improv. So you can make a world where healing and grieving and, you know, all of these ways of feeling and really like holding space for each other is the way we do it, is what we live. Like we decide that instead of a building process, that we do an unbuilding process. Okay, we can build little houses in order to have a space to live in, to do this, but that the space serves the undoing process. And don't fall for the illusion that we are ready to, you know, do the new earth thing, that there is an underworld that is very much a part of our lives and that we have not given the time for. So this is about, you know, so Charlotte is what, like a partner for me in unbuilding, is a partner to me in unbuilding. And we what we do is we have decided that the value that we bring to the world is non-material value, and that what we do is hold space for each other and for other people to do emotional healing work. And that this is the community that we want to live in, is one where we dig for gold in the underworld, in our underworld, and that we have fun doing it. When I'm part of this thing, we meet weekly, it's called Sadness Club, and we go into for 2.5 hours into our sadness, and we just like dig, and it's like the most beautiful process, most beautifully it's painful, obviously all the feelings are pain, joy, anger, fear, and sadness, but it's beautiful. My fear is telling me that we're almost at time. Ines, can we keep going?
Well, we shouldn't, but your message is really important, so let's try to keep it short and clear.
Let's keep going. Okay, so I don't want to keep blah blah blah, so I want to hear from you, like, what are you feeling right now? Not about getting it right, just to start this process within yourself for no reason. What are you feeling after hearing all this?
Curiosity. I want to know where I can learn more about these concepts.
Okay, yeah.
I agree.
So you can reach out to me, because there's so much about this, but you can also go to look around the internet for possibility management. It's this game world that's organic, decentralized, global, non-hierarchical, no corporate entity. It's just a bunch of people around the world that are choosing to do the dirty work and make it fun. Charlotte, can you write into the chat my Instagram and my phone number, and people can reach out to me? So okay, so I gave you the map of 4 feelings. So if curiosity lived in one of these territories, which one of the 4 would it be?
For me, joy.
Okay.
Yeah, I would
cool.
say joy. Yeah, although it could create fear for others, depending, right? The wide open space is sometimes fearful, especially if you haven't done the work, right?
So yeah, you're right, Lynn. Anything can be interpreted differently by anybody, and this is also a really big nugget. Which, when you start your emotional body initiation work, I would leave that aside for now, but just explore. Okay, I feel, and then find like one of the 4 feelings. Because, so I could say I feel angry because this guy just came on here and told me that I don't know what I'm not ready to build a community. Okay, great. Thank you. Is it a feeling or an emotion? Is it from now, or is it about an authority figure that's standing in front of the screen and you know, is the appointed leader of this space. Okay, how does that play out in your life, where there's a leader and it gets this projection of authority, and I don't want to listen to this fucking asshole. I want to just keep doing my thing. Okay, that was just an example. So I invite you to tell me more. Like, what are you feeling? Say, I feel blank because.
I feel anxiety because the time boundary is expired.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Be frustrated because the time boundary has expired.
I feel sadness because the time frame is expired.
So I also felt fear, and that was the trigger for me to say, hey, Ines, can we go? Will you give us more time? Right. So I like to play the non-linear, no rules game. Like, okay, we made a rule in this space that the space closes at 12:15 my time, but that doesn't mean that I cannot choose to make a different offer. Right. I say, hey, let's get more time. We're here. This is working. Let's keep going. And you can choose. You say, okay, well, I stay, or okay, I've had enough. I'll listen to the recording, or I'll reach out to you later. Everybody taking responsibility for their experience, and then we can really navigate intimate, transformative space. She said it's important, so yes. That's what I heard you say.
How do you see that some of these structures, like some of these survival mechanisms, they've been there for a reason, because they helped us survive and
Yes.
process things, and in the now we can go back to those situations and give it the capacity that we didn't have. But there's also some scenarios, I think, where it's formed relationally and then kind of has to be undone relationally, I feel. So there's a part that is you work on yourself and then there's a part where there you need the other.
Yeah. This is like, I hear what you're saying. I think it's an important exploration that, like, we need the other. And I also see the shadow side of this, which is, and now I'm a victim. If I cannot complete it with this person, then it's going to stay. And in my world, I choose that I'm not a victim. Okay, so what can you do, right? What can you do? And I don't know. Have you ever done any family constellation work?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. So you can have a stand-in. It works. Like, there's so much gold and realization that comes from this process of asking somebody, hey, will you play my mother? Will you play my father? And you make a space and you say, okay, for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to access all of the anger that I wasn't allowed to access with my mother. You're going to play my mother, and I don't need you to do anything. Just listen. And whenever possible, repeat back to me what you heard me say so that I feel heard. Okay. So you make the space and you go for it. And then all of a sudden, it's like your heart bursts open. Your center's back in your center. You have your authority. It creates a platform. Your heart blasts open. And finally, you can speak in ways that maybe you haven't had access to since you were 7 or 4, or before you were born, even maybe from a past life. Who knows? I mean, we do emotional healing processes all the time, and some people go into past lives. I've gone into a process where I was not human. I was like from a different planet on Earth in Egypt I was with the significant other. There was a child that was dead, our child, and I, that was a really deep process where I got to see how I am so afraid of committing to partnership and committing to family, because I at one point I had a child die. So and it's like, yeah, it's an endless well, and is an endless well. Like, how amazing. We can just keep doing this forever and rejigger the game so that this is the measure of success, the measure of regeneration.
Thank you, Jeff.
So here's my offer. Here's my offer to you. Whoever would like, reach out to me, and we'll make a space for an hour to just explore and do some emotional body like processing work and you know, navigation work, and just send me a message. It's on, you know, whatever, it's not for a fee, and we'll just go and do some exploration. I'm offering this because this really matters to me. Like when I did my feelings work initiation, my anger said, I feel so fucking angry that I never learned how to do this. And so that was my message of, I need to do this, and I need to do this with others. And so this is what drives me, and I want to meet more community builders and community minded people, and so we can keep doing this.
Can you share your Instagram? I'm very interested in learning more.
Yeah, it's the Urban Barefoot. I think Charlotte put it in there.
Yeah. Thank you, Alex. We're really out of time.
Yeah, go.
So we need to finish. Thank you very much for this challenging approach. Also very insightful, let's say. And I'm really curious to talk more with you, and I will reach out for sure.
Bye.
So,
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
One second. One second. There was a.
Will do.
Okay. Goodbye. I'll close the room.